Hi, this is Eva for Once Upon a Timeline. Welcome to Midnight Mandela. No, I didn't even check my sound to make sure it's working. Yes. Okay, looks good. So today, I swear it was Tuesday, but then I looked at about an hour ago and I saw that it was in fact Wednesday. So imagine my surprise. Luckily, I actually did have a lot of Mandelas saved. And then I ran and looked at some of the comments, and I found a bunch, so we got plenty to talk about. I think it's ramping back up. I've just seen a lot of weird stuff. You know, there's a lot of world happenings with the attempted Trump assassination thingy, and then Biden stepping down and all that. So I don't know, you know, maybe weird stuff happens during the shift or something, but so yesterday I came home from work and I walk up my parking lot drive and there's a tree there that I don't remember. So it's like a weed. It's like some dropped an acorn and it grew, but it's 10 feet tall. I'm like, no. So there's two big ash trees, and those ash used to have branches that would come down. But now that they don't have there was ash branches there. There wasn't a baby oak tree. So just to be clear, I would never let an oak tree start growing there because there's two big ash trees there, and that's not a good spot for an oak tree. And there's no room because it's right next to the path. And I'm like staring at this thing going, what? And the other weird thing is I really just wasn't even that freaked out by it. I was like, okay. So that has to get cut down. It won't be too bad because it's like a big bunch of scrubby branches or something. But it's like, no, that was just branches of the ash tree there. I don't even know what to say. I actually always cut down the baby oaks I don't want because they do grow pretty fast. So, I cut down, you just get the little lopers and snip them when they're little, you know. And I've cut down all these oaks way farther away from the house. There's no way I'm letting a baby oak grow right there. So it was just such a trip. I just was like walking around. I don't know. I should be more freaked out. I was just like, okay, sure, whatever. Now I got more work to do. Okay, so I do think that it's been a shifty week because that happened yesterday. And then a couple days ago, there's this character on a show I watch, and that character has like a new part on the design. But I am absolutely 100% sure was not there for a whole bunch of reasons that would just be too much to go into because probably nobody else knows the show anyway. But I'm like, I am 100. You know, it's funny how some things, like, I had actually thought, you know, that this character needs another screen for seeing because the other screens got damaged in some of the shows. It's like an animation thing. And I'm like, you can't have, like, then what is the creature used to see when all three screens are damaged or missing? So, like, I was looking at it, I'm going, it's ridiculous to try to make sense of some kind of animation fantasy thing anyway, but, that's how my brain works, and I remember my brain thinking, well, what is it using to see with if all three screens are not present anymore because they got damaged or removed? Well, now it has a fourth screen, and I'm like, I am 100% sure that fourth screen was not there because when the three screens got damaged and removed, I was scrutinizing it, like, just out curious, you know, like, is there any other part it used for vision? And there was not. There was not a fourth effing screen on this thing. And the screen doesn't even do anything. Like, the other screens do things, but that one doesn't, as far as I can tell. So it's just, like, I can't explain how stupid it is unless you watch the show. And it happened to you. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. So it's been, like, a couple... they're personal Mandelas, but they're like pretty big ones for me. So I did find a tree up on top of the hill, a couple of them, like years ago. But that was kind of away from the house. It wasn't like right on the path. And I still feel like it was kind of sneaky because used to be some other tree branches were there that, and I had thought, I'm going to have to cut down these hanging ash branches because you can smack your head on them. I didn't get to it. Then what's interesting is that tree trimmers came and they didn't really need to trim, but Dave is like really good at just kind of schmoozing, and then he'll like, oh, hey, you want some free like jars of honey, but maybe you could like cut a couple extra branches, and he got them to cut that back not too long ago, and I hadn't really inspected all of it, but I mean, why would we have them cut away a couple of dangly ash branches but not cut away the whole effing tree? I don't know. The whole thing is a little bit weird, but so that's what's up with me. And there's probably a million Mandelas. I really haven't had a chance to really look, and I already found a bunch. Like Jacques found a bunch. So I'm just going to start whacking on the ones that Jacques found that I was able to get to in the 5 seconds before the show started, because suddenly it's Wednesday. Now, I'm not swearing it's a Mandela that is Wednesday. I've actually been just like in a really weird mood for the last few weeks where I'm just kind of, like it's almost like I took a drug or something to make me happy but spacey, because that's how it's kind of been. In some ways I feel sharper, but in some ways, like, it's very hard lately for me to keep track of time. I just don't have any sense of it. And that, I think when that first started happening, it really bothered me, and I was just confused, and I wanted that sense of time back to, like, I felt unmoored from the time or something. But now I'm just sort of like, whatever, like, I guess I got used to it. I don't care as much. And since I'm not even hardly trying, I think that might be why it suddenly became Wednesday. And so I don't know. Maybe I'm just losing the battle of keeping the old Eva, and I have to say it is less, I feel like a much better mood this way, but you have to wonder what you're losing in exchange, but I don't know. What are you going to do? I don't want to be miserable for the rest of my lifetime on Earth, so just chilling out seems to be the way to deal with things and stop worrying about stuff like time. Okay, so I did worry about it for, and that was another thing, actually. When I found out that it was Wednesday and I had like an hour and 15 minutes to the show, I really just wasn't as bothered as I usually would have been. Like, I think I would have used to felt really stupid and kind of stressed out, and I'm an idiot, and now I'm like, all right, whatever. We'll handle it. We'll handle it. So, and we did. We handled it. It just goes to show it pays to have some saved up Mandelas. All right, so Jacques was mentioning the Zapruder film, and it's interesting she did, because I actually had been looking at it for another reason a couple days ago, and I think the reason I was looking at it was different than the reason she was looking at it, or what she saw in it, or not. I'm not actually sure. She said something about a part on the vehicle that we hadn't noticed before, and I may or may not know the part. But then I just went and threw up the Zapruder film, since that's the one we always look at, just to see what's up. Although the one I had noticed a couple days is actually a different film. So I will get to that first. So first, let's do the Zapruder film. So the first thing I found out was that it has seemed to have morphed more. So this is slow motion and sharpened. So the sharpened version is still more blurry than the old version. I remember even in the black and white one had pretty crispness, and stuff from 100 years ago has crispness, but apparently the Zapruder film is complete and utter trash now, and it's been sharpened, not colored, although my original was black and white. The one here has always been color. Okay, so we looked at this like a few weeks ago, and I do remember some weird like garbage over here, but it wasn't this garbage, and it wasn't exact. It's like the garbage that's over here has changed, and then like the sign is more of a hassle, and remember this is sharpened. I'm going to show you the unsharpened version. It's even more trash, and you can barely see what's going on. And then like his ability to keep the camera on the effing car just gets worse and worse, because the car is like sagging below the screen almost by the end. And then this stupid sign is just more and more of an obstruction every time. So now you can barely see anything because of this stupid sign. So I think we're like 5 seconds to like a giant conspiracy theory where the sign is totally hiding everything, and maybe they'll say the sign wasn't original, or I don't even know, because this sign just looks, it's starting to get so big that I'm like, what? Wait a minute. I mean, like, it's blocked so much, but yet the actual pole does not look as fat as you would expect if you were actually like smooshed up against the sign. So I just feel like the perspective is a little off with this thing. The pole is still really thin compared to all this material. I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting paranoid. But I also don't remember this 177s, these countdown things. I don't know what's going on with any of this. I've never seen this before this. So I'm just going to play this thing. I'll take off the sound. I'm pretty sure that there's no copyright on this, but just to be on the safe side. All right, so here we go. This is just as the JFK's motorcade is pulling into view. Okay, so you can see you can't see hardly anything now. And it's going to pull behind this sign for a long time. All right, now did you see that? This is all new for me. Apparently, now way back, I do remember some hints that maybe some frames were removed, but all this damage and wrinkly stuff, I've never seen any of the video have this, and now it pretty much all has it where it's messed up. And I'll kind of show what I apparently in this timeline caused that. But you can see it's super blurry in some spots. It's all warped. It wiggles around. So that happens like right when it's behind the sign and stuff's probably going on. I actually just looked at this like 5 minutes ago, so I didn't even really inspect it that hard either. I just noticed. Okay, so he's fine. Now weird things happen to the film, and then he's behind the sign for the longest time. And it looks like by the time he comes out, he's already been shot the first time. I don't recognize these guys. They look like clowns with all the stuff on the front of their outfits there and the red and stuff. I don't know what's going on with that. This guy with his arm out, I'm quite sure that wasn't a thing. And I don't know what this black flag is over here. It looks like the pirate flag or something, because I swear that used to be American flags, but now I don't like. And it's kind of weird in this image because it's like it's bent down, but you can still see the finish of the circle. I should probably make it larger, although you'll just see me over here, so I don't think that'll help. So yeah, I don't know why there's a black flag and clown patrol back here. And this back car is so close now. All right, so he's already kind of like, or something. And then, let's see. I think he's going to get shot here in a second. But see, right there, it's like it suddenly glitches. And it's all wavy. And it's all wrinkly. You can't, even sharpened, you can't see crap. Taking it back a couple steps here just so you can see. Right there, if you saw it, it's like, and like you can hardly see what's going on in the front. Like we used to look here to see the front of the vehicle more, and like, you know, I mean, we used to really scrutinize this. Now you can't even see it, and it's way down here. So now this is weird because before I remember the blood spray shooting out the back of him, but now it's like it explodes in the front. Like there's a puff in the front. It's a totally different look. You can barely even see him because it's so low. And then he just flaps to the side. So that whole like event is different. Now she like climbs out. Every time this happens, it's more of a climb out. Okay, so this might be the thing that Jacques was noticing. There's like these special steps for humans to jump up on here before, and I'm not sure if those were there before. I kind of remember this guy, but I thought he was just jumping on the bumper. I didn't know he had special steps. But he does have, there's special steps set into the vehicle here for two guys, you know, the police or whoever to like hang. And so that's what these grabbers and things, I think we kind of had those on last time, but now I've got a better idea what they are. She comes out even more. Then you don't even know what happened because they go behind all this bushes and stuff, which I don't remember a thing. So I remember her coming out, then kind of going back into the car, but now you can't even see really what is going on because it's absolutely warped and there's a bush there, and somehow she did get back in, I guess, but you wouldn't really notice. And then there's another sign, which I don't remember even being there at all. And so like that whole last bit is just like wrong, and I don't know what's going on over here. The whole thing is just a mess and warped. Okay, so I don't remember this effing tunnel thing either, actually, frankly. I don't remember them disappearing into this tunnel thing, whatever that is. I just thought it was a street. So this whole thing is just like really, really different for me. And then I'm going to show you what apparently is going on with all that warpage. Oh, Shari, I'm sorry you got shingles. I hope it goes away fast. You know, oh, you never had chicken pox. I wonder if your medical history has changed. Because theoretically you're supposed to have... Last I checked, you have to have chicken... Well, actually, do you now still have to have chicken pox? Do you have to have had chicken pox to get shingles? So when I was a kid, I don't remember anything about shingles. Yeah, so that's really kind of a last 20 years thing for me. Having had chicken pox is a necessary precursor to developing shingles. All right, well, Now, will Cleveland Clinic back this up? You never really trust the AI. All right. If you've had... Yeah, it still agrees. If you've been vaccinated for chickenpox and never had it, you should be protected from shingles as an adult. Okay, so... I don't know, dude. That is weird. So, somebody over... like across the street got shingles recently. Sometimes it goes away in a few weeks and is not that bad. So hopefully that will be your case. Try to rest up. Yeah, so it's like right on the nerve. That's why it hurts so much. Okay, let's see. Jacques agrees the flags have changed. The size of the Earth change could have changed the vantage point. Yeah, true, but did it put a tunnel in? I don't know. I don't know. And that second sign. If you've had the vax, you could get shingles. Oh, is that the latest now? All right. Can chickenpox vaccine cause shingles? Leave it to the AI to not tell you that. See, I asked if it causes shingles, and it says, well, it doesn't always prevent shingles. Chickenpox vaccination increases shingles cases. That one might require a deep dive, because if it exists, stuff like that is not going to be on the top of Google. So I'm going to give up on that one for now. In my past, the chickenpox was the last vestiges of the Black Plague. Okay, that one's a new one for me. So, Jackie, I always do the Zapruder because in the past there was only 2 videos in another timeline. And one of them was Zapruder, which is the one you could really see a lot. And the other was not very helpful. Now there's apparently always been like 6 videos. And I really haven't like dug through them all. But I'm going to cover another one of them in a minute. Okay, so that was the one we just saw. Now, apparently, the story now is that the copy of the Zapruder film, was given to Life magazine, which damaged the frames and the copy they received, and that's like what everybody's been watching. And when I look, I find that now, which I've never seen before in my life, but apparently is the common version. But now they're saying, oh, but wait, there's another version that wasn't damaged. So why are we all watching the damaged version? Wouldn't you just everybody spread the undamaged version, because it's been like decades and decades? So here's the undamaged version. Whoops, we don't need sound. Thank you. It's identical except for the damaged frames are not damaged, basically. But then it's sort of like black and white. And this one is not sharpened. So you can really see that it is utter trash as far as you can't see a thing. You can't even tell if he's been shot yet. It's all janky. Let me see if you can even see when he gets shot. Okay, so like I can't even see any blood or anything on that one. It's almost like the other one was, oh, there it is. Okay, there, finally he got shot. All right, so where are we? We're here. He already feels bad. There, all right. That's weird because it was like something like jumped up right there, like a giant snake. Look at this. Doink, bloop. What's that black thing that goes up? That's kind of weird, actually. This. What is this? It just shows up. Okay, maybe it's just random, but, man, like these, look at this film. It's terrible. Suddenly there's just a black thing. Was it a shadow? I don't know. That's weird, but I've never seen that. I don't know what to say. You can see a little more over here, actually. There's a little more of the car than the version that the other one is. So why would they cut off the bottom in the other one is another question. It's still too low. It's still not centered, but... I mean, you can't even identify who this is in this one. It doesn't even look like a woman. Okay, it sort of does now. I can see the hat, but I don't know. The whole thing is just... You can't see anything in this. Oh, there's a bunch of cars over here. See, I remember this being like... You know how the beginning of the street was over there? Where it was just like a quiet street. I don't remember it like merging into the freeway, which is apparently what it does now. With all these bajillion cars. So I don't think you can really see anything beyond that. So So that's the undamaged version, but you mostly just find the damaged version. I don't know what's going on over here. It doesn't have the weird bumpy stuff, so maybe that's... Like, it doesn't have all this stuff over here, and it's not as cut off down there. I don't even know what to say. Okay, so there we got that. I don't know. See, for me, it's changed like multiple times. Okay. So I don't even know, like, this is like the nth time that I'm like, now it's totally different again. Red Dwarf did an episode where they go back time to Dallas and F up the timeline. For the show, they literally reproduced the entire Zapruder film. I don't know. Is that the Mandela trolling us? Okay, so that's Zapruder, the one I always watch. Now we're going to go to this other one that has shown up. And it's not actually the assassination, it's before the assassination. And it's some kind of conspiracy theory that I am sure I should have heard long before now. But somehow I'm only hearing this now. And I did look this up to make sure it's legit, and there are videos from like 15 years ago of it on YouTube, so as best I can tell, this is legit. But the story now is that these two guys would walk along with the car. Now, in my old timeline, the car moved a little too fast for you to just be like doo-doo-doo next to it. You would have to be like jogging pretty fast. And I guess it just pokes along now so that people can just stroll along next to it. But then they were called off. So these two dudes here, these Secret Service, were supposed to walk next to it. And then the story is that one of the other higher-ups tells these two to, like, get off the vehicle, like, to quit it. And then this one guy is like, what? What do you mean stop? You know, because this is my job. Why would anybody tell me to not be here? And so here's this video, and I don't even know what video this is actually, like what the name of it is, because I've never seen it before until like 2 days ago. Okay, so these guys are supposed to kind of bop along next to it, and now this guy's gonna start going, why what do you mean don't be on the car? Like, why? Okay, so right in here there's these little steppy things where he can also step up on, but I guess they were just jogging along next to it. So they're supposed to either jog along next, or they're supposed to step on here, and they were called off. They were told to, like, stop being in your spot. And then shortly after this, it was blam blam lights out. So, like, also this weird shadow thing. I looked up this video, and there's like this shadow that goes whoosh over to here, and I'm like, what is that thing? But I mean, I don't even know what to say, because I guess they'll just say it's a defect in the video, but I've never seen this video. Like, see that shadow that like jumps over here? That's just weird, occult, woo-woo, strangey stuff. I've never seen a defect in video that looks like that. There's no mention of what, like, I couldn't find any mention of why that shadow is there. So yeah, just strangeness. I'll just watch it to the end. So this is Jimmy Dore Show. He's just commenting that this is all highly sus that these two were pulled off. So I don't think there's a lot of the video. This is just repeating again. He gets pulled off. He's like, what? Why? And those are the steps that they could actually step up on. And then there's the creepy shadow. And then it ends. So I've never seen that video before. And it's, you know, in the timeline going way back now. I don't know if you guys ever heard of that thing? Old downtown Dallas is missing from my original reality. I don't know on that one, but all I know is it was like a sleepy street. You know, it wasn't. Yeah, so a few scenes in the show Red Dwarf have changed, but if you're not familiar with it, probably won't mean anything. That's exactly it for like all the shows I know well. I'm like, wait, that little part is wrong. That line has changed. I mean, there's some like I'm not sure, but there's like some like I mentioned. I am 100% positive that that fourth screen was not on that character. I am so positive. I would swear my life that that screen was not on there. So it's kind of funny what really strikes you, but it's just because I had actually been thinking, like, how does it see when its three screens are not attached? How does it see? I mean, it's just a ridiculous thing to think about, but it's also very ironic that it wasn't that long ago when I was thinking that, and now when I swear I saw it in some fan made, I saw the fourth screen, and I'm like, why did some idiot put a fourth screen in on the stomach when there wasn't and then I look at the show and I'm like, fuck me. It's on the original show going way back. It's not an upgrade. You'd think I'd learn now, but there's so much fan-made trash that I just was like, fan-made trash. Yes, I'm back to my swear mode too. I'm sorry. I'll have to dial it back. A Nightmare on... I'm not sure on A Nightmare on Elm Street. I think it was Nightmare on Elm Street, but that one's like... It was a thing that they tried to make movies like the title's shorter. It takes up less space. It's short and sweet. The A doesn't add any information. So, I don't know. Getting hot. Let me turn on the fan here. There we go. I don't think you can hear that fan. I have it on low. But if it's bugging you, let me know. Alright, so that's Jimmy Dore going, what in the holy hand of grenades is going on? Because he never heard of this conspiracy theory until 2 days ago. And that's what got me looking. And then when I saw that Shari had sent something about JFK. So I'm not sure what part Jackie was talking about being different. I mean, like, I just can't keep up. Alright, so here's another one Jackie found is like penguins having tails. Oh, look, it's a myth. Unlike birds with tail feathers that move freely, the penguin's tail is stiff. It doesn't look very stiff. This difference makes some people claim that their tail isn't made of feathers. No, I just don't remember there being a tail. I agree with Jackie. However, this is a myth. Penguin's tail is structured with feathers. Short-tailed penguins have up to 18 short feathers. Of course, we have tons of kinds of penguins now, including brush-tailed penguins. The feathers are long. No. So for me, this looks so stupid. They had like a little, like their tail, their butt just kind of was a little pointed. You kind of imagine maybe there was a little rump thing, tail bump under there maybe, they could kind of wiggle it, but they didn't go like whoosh out like this. So this looks stupid. And this is penguins now, at least some of them. These are the brushed tailed penguins. But even these, like, that looks like it has a rudder, like it has one of those weird, one of those coelacanth fish rudders or something. And it didn't. It just had a cute little wiggly nub. That was all they had. They did not have this. Not have that. Of course, they didn't have all this outlining. There weren't so many kinds. But yeah, so they have tails now. I say it's a lie, but see even those, like now these nub things are way longer. They were just like maybe like 15% of that. And I don't know, there's how many penguin types are there even now? I just can't keep track of all this stuff. They're just spawning so fast. So I was just kind of looking at other... they didn't have those creepy center fake teeth. Oh, what's this? Looks like they have big old yucky claws now too, actually. I'm looking at this. I'm like, I don't remember seeing these black claws. penguins have eyebrows. I guess they do now, according to that thing. That's a penguin? Okay. Yeah. All right, if you say so. Penguins will buy heat. Actually, don't remember that being a big thing either. They were pretty docile before. The story was that they lived up where nobody ever went, so they didn't really... So these, I've seen these before, but it looks like the eyebrows are getting longer. Alright, so yeah. Penguins have tails. In a nutshell. Bruce Lee's Chinese Connection movie, Mandela Effects, changed it to Fist of Fury, but I remember it as Chinese Connection. Huh, now it has been Fist of Fury for a long time, but Chinese Connection also sounds familiar, so it could well be that I had been in there. Anybody see that whale capsize that small boat? You know, I did not click on it. I don't know. I had so many things to do. But I did see the comment that had happened. This guy is stranger than any animal. Okay, so you guys don't remember penguins having tails. Lately, that's a word I suddenly like. I don't know. Frick me, but the other version. Starting yesterday. Return of the Dragon, change it to the way. I do remember Return of the Dragon. I do remember Return of the Dragon. Just like Revenge of the Jedi instead of Return of the Jedi. So, I took the Return of the Dragon and made a Return of the Jedi. Okay, so... Human anatomy. Let's see what we see. Oh, there's so many of these now. It's like... So people can, like, hang on some bars and then flip their head all the way around and then, like, do it again. And then their shoulders are like... And they didn't damage anything. And that was just not a thing before. You would be like... You would go to the hospital if you did that. Even the double-jointed people could not do the ridiculous things that they can do now. This isn't even as bad as some of the ones I've seen, but, yeah. I'm almost afraid to keep doing it. Let's see what else Yeah. I don't know if I can play this whole thing safely, but... The double-jointed people have a whole next-level skill set that didn't used to be there. I agree with that. Show me a white man who could do that. I have seen white people, and especially women, for whatever reason, I've seen a lot of white women that can do that. And it's like gymnasts and stuff. Sometimes they'll be in one of those, like, circus shows or whatever. I've seen some worse than that, and I've had some on, but I just kind of got tired of it, and it's also just freaky. So it's sort of like every 5 months there'll be a little bit more freaky one, and it's like, do I want to keep putting these on? So I haven't been, but there's definitely been a lot where I'm like, should I put that one on? I think they copied frock suit from penguins with the long tail, jacket for men. And called, they do call those things penguin suits sometimes, the men's suits with the little tails in the back. And now it makes sense because there's an effing tail on those birds, but there didn't used to be, and I just thought it was because they were like, you'd be white in the front and black in the back and kind of dumpy, so that's why it was a penguin suit, but... All right, so, yeah, I have not had any of the vaccines. So whatever's wrong with me or not, it is unrelated to that. I don't think I've had one since, like, the 90s. I think I had, like, a a flu vaccine in the early 90s. And then I read that there was no difference in hospital visits from people who do and don't get the flu vaccine. And I'm like, why am I getting this crap? Because, you know, it's $40 and I'm like, forget it. All right, this is a bizarre one. Apparently, oxygen is created on the ocean floor. So first, it was oil. They say, oil. We used to say, they said it was, it sounds so dumb now, too. I'm like, I was always suspicious when they used to say it was like old remains of dinosaurs. I'm like, why did I ever believe that? We all did, though, because the scientists knew what they were talking about. But yeah, it was all dried up dinosaur meat. It was oil. And then they're like, oh, wait, we think it comes from deep below the surface. And then they said, okay, water comes from like ice meteors that hit the earth, a cajillion of them over time, and made a whole effing ocean, which always sounded suspicious too, okay? But oxygen, okay, so they're saying water comes from below now, but oxygen, I'm sorry, actually, I did totally buy the story that plants created oxygen with their photosynthesis, but now apparently they're saying, since July 22, and this is a very interesting find from Jacques, that the ocean floor produces its own oxygen. It's dark oxygen. So I guess we don't have to plant trees. We just got to plant ocean floor. An international team of researchers has discovered that metallic minerals in the deep ocean floor produce oxygen 13,000 feet below the surface. Discovery challenges long-held assumptions that only photosynthetic organisms generate Earth's oxygen. Minerals at the abyssal seafloor appear to act like geobatteries to produce oxygen in a process that does not require sunlight. So there you go. Whatever, people, whatever. So now we have tons of water, like naturally in the crust, like deep below. Tons of oil naturally in the crust deep below. And oxygen is created by the deep ocean and not even plants. So now they're like, oh, we better not deep sea mine. I don't know. I'm not even worrying about it because this is like ridiculous. I got told, yeah, well, I guess they're not saying it's not also from the trees, but I always thought it was a little weird because I thought it was for the trees for so long. And then they say, well, actually at night, they go back to producing carbon dioxide. I'm like, well, how did we get oxygen? Are they doing more oxygen in the day, and then at night they're doing carbon dioxide? So they're making a bunch of carbon dioxide and sucking up oxygen at night. And I don't even know if that's still true. I think it is, last I checked. So they're not always producing oxygen now, are they? We have the oldest banking system in Morocco. I'm not sure if I know when I thought the first banking system was before. The Gudar granaries are the world's oldest bank. The granaries are as old as the mountains they are built in. That doesn't make sense because first you have to have mountains and then you can build in the mountains. They can't be the same age. The granaries belong to Amazigh people who settled in Morocco 4,000 years ago. I don't know, this stuff's always changing every 5 minutes. Oh, that's cool though. Wait, is that original? I've never seen that before. Wait a minute now. Moroccan government has been working to have UNESCO recognize the granary as an international heritage of great importance. Okay. Does that look like 4,000 years old, though? And what, there's just like a big... What is that? I'm going to have to look into this. So, like... Would they just pave the top or something? Hope these stones didn't, like, flop down after 4,000 years. Ever just bopping around, there's no protection. I have never seen this before. A lot of these now, they look fake. I mean, they look like somebody just dug out some stuff and stuffed some stuff and said, now we have a 4,000-year-old artifact. Come and visit and give us your tourist dollars. I mean, I don't know if that's true in this timeline, but I've certainly never seen it, and it doesn't look that old. they're gonna, oh, well, it was actually rebuilt. Well, was it rebuilt or was it just built? Gudar granaries. Let me just take a quick glance at that. Gudar granaries. I'm gonna put that on my list here. Fortified communal granaries, typically composed of a granary and a citadel, located in rocky, elevated locations to protect surrounding farms and livestock from enemies. Alright, so there's like a bunch of these then. I have literally never seen these before. Like that crack in the ground like that. Alright, so here's a Berber granaries. I'm kind of confused even where they just stuff a bunch of grain in there and then they have a bunch of cats to keep out all the rats or what? Okay, so here's a view on, so it had doors. I wonder how you locked it. People would just steal your stuff. Okay, so how come, like, why would you take your stuff and stuff it in there? Is this like the, where you sell stuff? And this is where you put your wares on the show. How do you get up there? There's all these levels. I don't even know how this works. I have literally never seen this. Building an Unomar door. Maybe there's some kind of locking mechanism. Let me take it to Google. Look, there's hardly any images. What? That's like ridiculous. Watch, I'll go to Google and we'll have 15 extra images. And remember the old days when there'd be hundreds and hundreds of images? Look, the rest of their molts may be wrong. This is all we got? These must be hot off the presses, because there's almost nothing. Okay, so you get up with these ladder thingies. Okay. So are you dragging your grain up the ladder thingy? Seems kind of a pain in the butt. People were in good shape back then, or they had some kind of pulley system, or what? Maybe some of each. Yeah, I don't know. I've never really... I mean, like, having a second floor and having heavy stuff to drag up there is literally a drag. I'm so glad I have a bottom floor only now. Okay, here's another style of it. Huh, alright. Well, that's new to me. The sun keeps going down in the northwest. I do feel like the angles have changed, but I don't know if it's because, like, my property has shifted or the sun has shifted. But there's definitely been times when suddenly sun rays would get through to spots they never got through to before. Alright, let's see what Shari's got over here. Stop! Okay. Okay, so it's all caved in at the top, but a lot of it's not. And that one image looked like it was like a crack in the ground. Berber granaries were used by Amazigh. Man, those are way up there. What the heck? Is this guy's gonna climb up? Alright, so what? You're up high, it's harder to get at him? Tiny doors? What the? So, like, it's a safe system? Like, they're... What do they have, guards or something? And you have to, like, only... Joe Smeckledorf is allowed here, and the guards have the owners memorized. You can have granary. I don't know. This is weird. Emergence of banks. A secure place to protect property. Okay. I mean, I guess it depends on your definition of a bank. I mean, the people don't own your stuff, though. They're not holding it for you, and giving you a, like, they're not, it's not like a bank. It's a storage area, a secure storage area. Yeah, Vivian, I was just saying the same thing. Like, you sit in the same place on the same couch for a couple of years, and then one day suddenly the sun is like hitting you in the eye, and it never did, and you haven't changed anything, or it gets through to another spot in the house where you never did. You know. I have strange sensations and complaints. They come and go. I have the same thing. Like, oh, my foot will hurt for like an hour, and then it'll just stop. And then maybe tomorrow the other foot will hurt for like an hour, and then it'll just stop, and I didn't do anything, and then it went away, and it'll hurt a lot. But then an hour later, it's like there was never anything wrong with it. And it's just so irritating. Sometimes just like some weird corner of the middle of my leg will hurt, and I'm like, why? Why? Very irritating. I mean, you couldn't even have this stuff checked because it would be gone before you'd get an appointment with a doctor. There doesn't actually appear to be anything wrong, so you're going to just sound like some kind of hypochondriac. Revenue Strix could climb the trees. That one was on not like a few years ago. They, yes, their new climbing style, their new old climbing style. Yes, they didn't climb it like that in the old days. They're way smarter. I mean, they'd get up in the trees, but like normal animals, where they just would kind of climb on. So they didn't climb like that. They would get on some low-hanging branches or something. Not that sophisticated. I noticed new stars in front of my house facing south. My star chart says Corona Australis and Telescopium. Telescopium? I've never heard of those. I have varicose veins on my left foot. That gets better. Yeah, there's like nothing on like the parts. Like there was last few days, like weird parts of my leg would just hurt for a while. It just, there's no reason for it. There's no weird veins there. It doesn't even feel like it's in the flesh. I don't know how to describe it. It's like this vague ache that, like, I mean, like if you bruised yourself, then you'd know that it's the flesh aching. But it's even more diffuse than that. Yeah, the stars are total foobar. I agree with you there. All right, so we got this thing. Morocco granaries. More Morocco granaries. All right. I was kind of... Jacques was talking about Africa. And I think she did mention this lake. And I think we did talk about it lately. But it's so big now. This is so irritating because you can see the name of it on a certain amount of pan right there for like a second there. Lake Victoria. It shows for a second and then it fades. But this is Lake Victoria. There we go. It'll stay at that. And it's huge. If you zoom in, you don't get no name. But you can totally see it over here. These are getting fatter and fatter. That's what happens. First, the river gets kind of more prominent, like the way the Nile is doing. And then look down here. You think, oh, it's just green plants. But then down here, look, there's a whole lake down here at the end of the Nile. What is that even called? I'm just noticing it now. So the Nile used to be big down here, but it was thin over here. There was no way this all was here. Is it big enough to have a lake name yet? Nasser. Okay, it's Nasser. So that's what happens. The existing rivers just kind of flood. And see, look, there's this stuff going on. They didn't used to be Toshka lakes, and there was just the Nile. Toshka, that's also Toshka lakes. That's Toshka lakes. That's Toshka lakes. So I think there's going to be a lot of lakes here because they just named them all Toshka lakes. So that's what's up there. Checking to see if this got a name yet. Oh yes, we did find that one before. Garabug Zakzoi. Garabug Gazkoi Basin. We did find that one before. Breaking off. Whoops. Got carried away. Oh, this is interesting. So this has become like a separate thing. When does this get a name? I mean, look at that's a whole separate lake. There's no reason that doesn't have a name. So this should get a name eventually. We're taking their sweet time. This really needs a name. Somewhere there might be a name, but they're not letting me know what it is. So I saw this just kind of like spread out over here from the main Lake Huron. Now this kind of has separated it off. But then over here we have another one doing the same thing. We're basically growing more lakes over here. So we got that one, and that one. This is a newer one here. Do we get a name yet? No. I'm sure it's got to come eventually. I mean, look at it. It's a whole different lake. It's over here. Big Bay de Noc is that. Little Bay de Noc. So we have the bay names, but not whatever the heck this is. Wait. Green Bay. Well, I have heard of the Green Bay Packers, but like... Alright. So that's Green Bay. Whoa, look at all the islands over here. Check that out. That looks like someone just scribbled it in with a pen. Alright, that's kind of newish here. I don't remember all that. This was here, but this is just scribbled. Look at that. How lazy is that? Just scribble it in. You can't see it. It's not being done yet. It hasn't been done being created yet. It's just all... Look at it. It's all granular. There's like 3 pixels to go around. All right. This is so not finished. We're going to have to revisit this because I'm sure that this has got to look better. If you go over to this island, it's not going to suck that bad. Yeah, see, you can see stuff over here. It's not great, but it's better than the other one. This is like hot off the presses. It's just amoeba blobs. Betelgeuse super. I've heard about that Betel. How do they know when Betelgeuse is gonna supernova? I don't know. It's all just clown world. None of it feels real anymore. I mean, I really do feel like my consciousness, everything just feels like a dream. It's even like when you're dreaming and it's kind of hard to concentrate and you're like, whatever. That's become my attitude. Like, yeah, whatever. I mean, I'm not 100% there. There's still stuff that stressed me out, but I've definitely gotten a lot better at that. But I kind of miss, like, I definitely miss my, like, a feeling like I could concentrate. And I don't have it as good as I used to have it. I'm happier, but I can't concentrate. And I'm like space out. Like, I've known people like this. They're just like, they get distracted, they just zone out, and then an hour later they're like, oh yeah, what was I doing? That's becoming me now. And in some ways it's kind of relaxing, but I do want to like sometimes get stuff done. The cutlass fish is more awesome every shift. Oh, that's that shiny. Oh no, that's the. Is that? Oh, it's the shiny one. The shiny. Look at. Oh, those are shiny ones. Okay, I really like those things. Those are so cool. I think I like that metallic look. Yeah, you're right. It's instead of like, it's actually, it used to look chrome, but now it almost looks like silver chrome. Oh, and look at the fins. They're so cool. I just feel like those aren't like, they just don't even look like they've come from Earth, you know? Look at those things. Since when did they do all that fin wiggling when they're not in the water? I've never seen them do that before. Why do all that? I guess if you're... I didn't even have all these fish with these long top fins like that. They used to just have regular one pointy fin on the top, maybe two. They're like eels. There's so many fish that are like eels now. Those are so cool, though. I agree. Mediterranean is closing, yeah. And the Gulf of Mexico, big time. Google makes... I don't know, you see it change enough and you're just like, whatever. Whatever. I found the reset to north button. That is very convenient. This area just keeps growing and growing. This area used to just be like... Australia was here, and then there would just be like this much of all this swirly stuff. And now look, it's way bigger than Australia. So I don't know if this has grown or Australia has shrunk. But now Australia is looking dinky. And here's another thing. Since when is Antarctica bigger than Australia? I don't remember that at all. Yeah, I think Australia has definitely shrunk. Because look at this. This is a globe, so you can't say it's map, you know, distortion or anything. Man, it's like really fat through here. The last time I looked... So are they counting a bunch of ice shelves in here? Because I remember this being thinner and around the corner more. Like... Let's just look at the shape of Antarctica. Because that actually looks very strange. Oh, so that is the shape now. Okay, so that's changed. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That's different. That is not right. That is a big change. That's Antarctica now. Alright, so this bulgy thing was not like this. And then this point was like really long. So last week we kind of looked at the ice shelves and there was like a point here and then two little ice shelves. It wasn't this. That was just last week. So it is... Alright. Antarctica. Let me see if I can find... I need a map that shows me... okay. Well, it does look kind of like the one we saw last week. But this here looks like it's really bulged out. Maybe it was that way last week or not, and I just got confused by these... I feel like that little island there has gotten bigger, too. We were talking about that the other day. So it just seems like here, this area has gotten really bulged out. And the ice shelves here have made it way fatter. So these are bigger. This Rhone and Ross ice shelves are bigger in comparison to this. So the end result is it's big. Okay, so Antarctica shape has definitely changed. Either it's bigger or Australia is smaller. I used to have these grapes as glass, and now they are real. Oh, pretty. Koshu pink grapes. So they're translucent is what makes them cool, apparently. From what I can see. Oh, wait. These images have been digitally altered. Koshu grapes are much paler and do not grow from a pink vine. Okay. So, let's look at the real Koshu grapes. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if these come in, because this digital alter business is like how it starts. We've seen this enough times. And then the real thing will slowly diverge to match that. So like when they first come in, that's not real. But then over time, it gets more and more real. Okay, so they look pretty close on here. All right, this might be more accurate here. How can you even tell? All right, they're more pink here. Those look pretty natural. All right, so they're just kind of light grapes for now. I do appreciate the context thing that X has been doing. It does help. Philippines is going through a huge shift. There are floods and rain and God knows. That's a good point. It does seem like a lot of new stuff shows up after these big disaster things. Now I have an appetite for pink grapes. I'm actually just thirsty all of a sudden. Soon they'll be the color of strawberry quick. Wait, they'll be like glowing. They'll have anti-grav technology through static electricity. They'll call lightning. The way it's going, who knows what we'll get in the end. Look at 1:30. Stop. All right. So see, like this whole thing looks like it's been pink filtered, because look at how pink his hand is. This is almost assuredly supposed to be a white thing, but it's all pink. So you gotta like consider that. Because since I do photos too, I play with the color saturation myself, but I'm usually trying to get the thing to look like it really looks, because sometimes the camera doesn't catch the color well. So I'm trying to make it look real instead of bad. But what happens is if the camera doesn't see them as pink enough and I alter the color to make them pink, but then it makes the hand look pink and the wall look pink, and so it's always like tricky that way. So, you know, they want them to look good, so you'll think they're cool and buy them. But then again, who knows? Maybe that's just the Mandela messing with you. Girt by the Sea. I've never heard of Girt by the Sea. Oh, maybe it's an Australian thing. Our home is girt by the sea, with girt meaning surrounded by water. It was like a ton of water. Not so much now, you're right. America the Beautiful says, from sea to shining sea, but we don't have seas, we have oceans. Yeah, I don't know. You gotta wonder sometimes if they're like really old Mandela effects. And 300 years ago, they were seas, and then they got bigger, and then they called them oceans, or maybe they just had a different word for them. But you do have to wonder now. All right, so close down some stuff. Did Google Earth. So now I want to get to some of the saved stuff we've got. 45 minutes. All right, I did cicadas last time. This one I kind of missed last time, but I find it very interesting. Apparently, some salmon don't die after breeding now. Remember, it used to always be that they would die. There was only one kind of salmon, But now, Atlantic salmon, unlike other salmon species, don't die after beating and can take the journey many times. And this is the one that have the story where they go exactly where they spawn from and remember where it is. That used to be all of the salmon. Only 5% of the salmon swim up the wrong river. Actually, they never said any of them did. Oh, now steelhead do that too. Okay, I haven't checked that comment, but... Also, since salmon do not stop growing, I've not heard that. Salmon do not stop growing now. I haven't actually checked it, but I wouldn't really be surprised. So what, like a salmon could be the size of a whale then? The biggest ever weighed 49 kilos. That's 100 pounds. How big is a 100-pound fish? I mean, granted, they're pretty heavy, so... like the size of a man, then. It would be the size of a man. So, like, if you took a salmon and you put it in an artificial lake and you made sure the water was good and you fed it good stuff, they never stop growing? I mean, did they stop growing because they get old and die? So I'm going to have to look this up now. Did they have a time limit on their growth? Salmon never stop growing. All right, so then it would be Atlantic salmon that never stop growing. So a landlocked Atlantic salmon is a freshwater form. So there's freshwater salmon. Why are they called Atlantic then? The Atlantic salmon is one species with the genus Salmo. There are 7 different species of Pacific salmon, which belong to the genus Oncorhynchus. Atlantic salmon generally don't live long after spawning, but are capable of surviving and spawning again. Most Pacific salmon die shortly after spawning, with the exception of steelhead. Okay, so steelhead, are salmon, that's right, they are. So steelhead salmon don't die after spawning, and neither do Atlantic. They live along the Long Island Sound in New England, but those populations no longer exist. They never existed. Currently, U.S. Atlantic salmon are only found in a handful of rivers in Maine. All right, so they showed up in Maine, basically. So there's Maine Atlantic salmon. Atlantic salmon go to sea to grow. This must be from AI because it's like, first it says they don't, then they do, then they, you can't find out anything. What is a landlocked salmon? A landlocked Atlantic salmon is a freshwater form of the sea-run Atlantic. A freshwater form, so they don't have to go to the sea anymore. They are considered a subspecies of the sea-run Atlantic salmon. They reside in lakes, never making the marine migration. They generally do not grow as large, averaging 12 to 20 inches. For now. All right, so landlocked Atlantic salmon is the story we're now looking for here. Species information. It is illegal to fish for or possess wild sea-run. Sea-run. They were all sea-run. Sea-run. It is illegal to catch them, but they are an entertaining fish to catch. A landlocked salmon almost always lives up to their nickname, leaping landlocked. Anybody ever heard of that? Landlocked salmon prefer waters below 65 degrees. Ice fishing for landlocked salmon in the winter can also be quite productive. I thought you said that it was illegal to fish them. They may span more than once. They may spawn in consecutive or alternate years, so they may not spawn every year. Or they may do a couple consecutive years, then skip a year. Some may skip 2 to 3 years. Unlike the landlocked form, sea-run Atlantic do not complete their life cycle solely in the fresh water. All right, so this is just more whack-doodle reality baloney. I can't believe there's a 4th Jonas brother. Let's check that out. 4th. You know, there's one more of everything at least now. Frankie Jones is the youngest sibling of the Jonas brothers. While his brothers Kevin, Joe, and Nick gained widespread fame and popularity in the 2000s, Frank often faced this nickname Bonus Jonas, which he has openly disliked. Who's writing these scripts? I don't know. All right, so there is a 4th one. Bonus Jonas. Those, Joe Blore, yes, I've seen those and more kinds that look similar, I might add. I think we just had one last week that was not too unlike that, but it had the little tiny feet. Tiny chickens. All right, let's see. No way! Is that for reals? No. How big is that? It looks full grown, too. All right. Less than 500 grams. I'm trying to look around here at something so I can... Grams. I'm not really good at comprehending grams. All right, how many grams is in this thing? Milliliters is the same as grams. So this is 48 milliliters. It's pretty close to grams. So it's going to be more than that. Grams. This is 226 grams and it's pretty heavy. I'm going to put it on the scale. So 2 of these. Okay. That's actually not that small. I'm wondering if they have like big, fat, like boards and stuff to make it look smaller than it is. Yeah. All right, no sound, please. That might be like a baby one. If they put it near small, like big stuff, it'll make it look small. So we did have pretty 6 ounce, so like 12 ounces maybe. So what, 2/3 of a pound. Birds are pretty light. So I'm not sure if that is as small as we think it is. This chicken is trying to sit on baby kittens. These little monsters have become very, these chickens have become very aggressive. I mean, they always were, but they're just more and more velociraptor style all the time. Okay, so if it's 500 grams or less, I mean, I don't know. I can't really tell on that one. It's not telling me how many grams that one is. I wouldn't be surprised if they end up like this big, though, because that's just the kind of shifts that we're getting. Like, they need to hold it in their hand or something so we can see it. But that's what the Mandela likes. It gives you these videos that are, you can't judge scale, and then it's a lot easier for them to shift. So 12 ounces, that's like 2/3 of a pound. Because it's 16 ounces in a pound. All right, another mini chicken. So let's see what we got here. Stop it. Okay, so now that one, we had the silkies and they were pretty small. So that one does look like it's pretty full grown, but we did have pretty small ones. So that one to me is not hugely small, but I wouldn't be surprised if they shrink down. That one's looks like that's, is it pounds? I think they're doing pounds, ounces. So that would be like 14 ounces. So that's a little bigger than the one we just looked at. I think they're coming though. We just might need some more shifts for the super tiny ones. Yeah, we got the 6. The huge, I don't know if they were 6 feet, but they were huge. There's some huge chickens, so I guess it's time for the minis. It kind of like, they're not that useful to me other than being cute, because they're probably still pretty aggressive. Although the silkies weren't, but those ones we saw, those are not silkies at all. The silkies were so sweet that they were kind of fun to have as a chicken because they didn't really fight or bully each other that much. They still laid eggs. They're a little bit small, but they still were fairly decent at laying eggs. If I ever got chickens again, it would probably be silkies just because they're sweet. And they're pretty smart. Unlike some creatures that are sweet, they weren't like dumb as a rock. Alright, so where are we here? Jonas Brothers. No. Salmon. I think I just deleted the thing I needed to have. My favorite thing to do. Doink. Saved. Okay, so we did the long surviving salmon. We did that last week. This one is like, no, I just, the gators, they just walk so easily now. They used to just drag. Now, I haven't seen any drag in so long. They used to like drag up from the seashore. They weren't that fast. Now they just walk easy. The other thing I'm noticing, there's getting this huge pouchy thing under here. We talked about the weird throat closing, like flap, whatever that was called, but now there's like this huge pouch thing. So I'm just kind of looking at these things. The other thing is the tails look like they're getting really long. All right, we don't need to hear the birds. See here, the tail, I feel like there's suddenly another, like the tail starts to taper and then suddenly it gets bigger again. It's gotten so big here that it's flopping to the side. Now, they used to just have like kind of a roundish tail that would drag, but now they've got this more rudder. I guess it's good for swimming, but where it actually starts to thicken again towards the end, and that was not the way of it before. Pokemon. I have heard of the sugar glider. I'm sure I've had those on here a bunch of times. Fancy pigeons. Yes, we've had fancy pigeons on here several times. Those like spinning ones, and then the ones with the big weird neck. Alright, so nothing super major, just keep looking at them. Alright, this one I have not heard of before. We have... This one makes me laugh. Okay, so these wombat things. We have heard in the past, I've had it on, that they have the square poops. So the story is now that they might have had the square poops because then they can mark their territory and the poops won't roll away if they're like square. Whatever, maybe. But now they apparently have an armored butt, so that they can like plug the hole in their burrow with their butt. Like, I swear, if a predator's coming, I don't want to use my butt to plug the hole, because you're basically saying, here I am, bite me on the butt. I'd be like taking my butt far away from the hole. But the story here is now that the wombats use their armored butt. Here it is, the armored butt of the wombat to plug the hole. And I guess it has a bunch of like cartilage armor, but still, if you get bit on the cartilage, it still is not pleasant. It can still get infected. Look at this. This is total bull crap. This is not right. Wait, is this the was it wombat or armadillo? I think it's wombat, right? Yeah, those are the cube poopers. Yeah, it's wombats. Wombats. So, they have armored butts. I mean, is this your plan? I mean, like, who thought of this? This is stupider every second. I'm not doing that if I'm a wombat. I'll put a rock there. I'll dig some dirt there. I'm not putting my butt. Bite-resistant butts. Oh yeah, I forgot, too. If he tries to squeeze past, the wombat will smack his butt around and bang his head and smash him. Like, come on, people. I mean, I have to say that whatever imagination invented this technique, like Dr. Seuss from the, like, other side of the reality, I don't know, but that's the story. The wombats will apparently could even kill predators with their big fat butt. I gotta write this down. It's a bite-proof smacking weapon. Den holes. See, I was so disorganized. I usually have this stuff most of it written down. I only have to write down the new stuff, but today that did not happen. The womp rat. So that was what? That was actually like 2 weeks ago. The strangest water spring in the world is in Russia, which spews water and fire from the depths of the earth. All right, so another one of these fire ones. Now, are they like lighting? Are they lighting the flame, or does it just come out hot? Okay, so what's the name of it then? Messages. No, I always get confused on how to get to. These are the comments, I think. See, because I'd like to know where. I would like to know what the name of the strangest spring in the world is. This can happen when subterranean gas deposits, such as methane, intersect with underground water sources, such that the elements can surface together. It is ridiculous. Why is the fire still burning? Shouldn't the water, like, block the methane and then put it out? Okay, that's a different deal. All right, so let me just see if I can find that one. Okay, no fire emitting spring found. I don't know why it's going to Lake Baikal. Water Spring, Russia. So, I mean, it always could be fake, but we have been seeing a lot of videos like that lately, so I think it's coming. Or it's just not labeled yet. That's how they show up. There's like no knowledge where it comes from, and then later you find out. In fact, I have one like that coming up over here. Oh, this one was pretty weird. Okay, so this is like, there's a really gross image, so if you don't like it, don't look. But basically, in my old timeline, if your hands started like rotting, they had to remove those because otherwise the gangrene would just spread like all over your body. They had to hurry up and do it before it like spread. But apparently now it can auto-amputate. Like it can just like the body will, I mean, it's smart. The body will go, oh, that place is messed up. We're just gonna heal it over right here and let the rest fall off. Auto-amputate. So you don't have to cut it off now and try to close up all the skin. Although auto-amputation doesn't always work, but apparently that we can. Our bodies now know these things, okay? I don't even know how to play it. It was really gross. But down here, someone started talking about auto-amputation, and I'm like, what? Should I even show it? You know what? I don't think I should because it was gross, and I don't think YouTube would like it. But that's the thing. You can... because... So they're basically saying he's not dead yet because they probably are... The arms already auto-amputated. So they were all black and, you know, frozen. This guy may well be a professional beggar, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so yes, you can auto-amputate arms, parts. Like, there was the whole arm that could be done. Let me dig this up. I saw these are all from like 2 weeks ago. Wiki. I have never heard of auto-amputation before. So here we go, the wiki. So they're saying it's rare here, but when I was reading the wiki, they said that in some places they prefer to do it that way. It saves money. And then there was some kind of argument that maybe it was more effective. Spontaneous detachment of an appendage or organ from the body. Usually due to destruction of blood vessels, feeding extremities such as the fingertips. The tissue is starved of oxygen and dies, which is followed by gangrene. Auto-amputation is a feature of the inum, cryoglobulinemia, and thromboangiitis obliterans. So it can happen from frostbite, some diseases, and Raynaud's phenomena. I've not heard of Raynaud's being so bad that it would auto-amputate. So Raynaud's has definitely got a lot worse, because Raynaud's used to be something where it was just kind of like, it wasn't a big deal, it wasn't great, but it wasn't that serious. So apparently now all the blood flow can be lost to some fingers and it could auto-amputate. Uncontrolled diabetes, could be predisposed to I've never heard of this. Other parts of the body can suffer as well. Ovarian auto-amputation in a newborn. Tips of fingers. It could be congenital. Chronic torsion. Blah, blah, blah. You know, there was a whole thing where they were saying, and I'm not sure it was on the wiki, but they were basically saying in some countries they prefer to let it like auto-amputate if possible versus cutting it off. And then they were claiming, oh, it has a better survival rate. And then they're like, oh, no, maybe they're just, you know, they don't want to pay for it. And so they're claiming that. But I'm kind of wondering if it's going to be kind of a thing where like you should have just let nature take its course. Because it knew, so we're actually, our body got smarter. We're getting so we don't need doctors. Yeah, but see, they're saying any of those above can also just cause auto-amputation. Jungle rot, gangrene, any of those can cause it. Fire shower. Okay, let's find the fire shower here. It's a burning plunge in Dagestan's Goryachka Spring. All right, so we know it's Goryachka Spring. So that sounds legit. Visitors. The illusion of burning water. The spring's water temperature does not exceed 40 degrees C. Tourists ignited the streams of the source, creating a captivating illusion of fiery waters in which they playfully immerse themselves. Okay, so I'm assuming there's gas and then we lit it. But it's not an illusion of fire because we lit it. There is fire. It just doesn't maybe light itself. At least not yet. We've definitely seen some stuff that seems close. All right. I really feel like eventually there's going to be some kind of story like sparks down in blah blah lit it. Yachka Spring. Not really finding that much. Could be because Brave browser is terrible. Hydrogen sulfide spring, Goryachka in Dagestan. Okay. Well, it looks, I don't know, dirty. Hydrogen sulfide water from an old pipe has been coming out of the ground since Soviet times and has not dried up for several decades. The water is not very hot, has a specific smell of hydrogen sulfide, and well, it's flowing. No, not much infrastructure, so they do light it. Hydrogen sulfide's not a good smell, so I don't know if I'll be like running down there, but I really do feel like eventually we're going to find that they light themselves. I think we're really heading that way. Okay, this thing, I had this on before as the thumbnail and I couldn't find out what it was. And I looked, and now we know what it is. So this same image we had on before, but it's legit now. We know what it is. Other than like from the depths of hell creepy thing. Now I know that this is the tail, this is the wings, and this is the front. I'm pretty sure. And that it is a real thing. So when I had this on before, I was like, well, is it some kind of creepy thing from a movie? But no. I guessed correct on this. It is a Paranchestus cornutus stick insect from Australia. So Shaki, it's your fault this time. Even now, nature reminds me that aliens will be a lot scarier than Hollywood is willing to present. It does look creepier to me than many things, like something of horror, I have to agree. Let's see. I want to cut. I hate it that I can't cut and paste on these titles. Look at that thing. That is so creepy. So apparently it's just a threat display and it doesn't, it's working, okay? But it doesn't actually sting, at least not for now. Paranchestus. Chestus. I know I've typed it in before. And there's very few videos on this too. I think this might even be the one I saw last time. Very few. Mongolia. Oh, Mongolia did it. See, that's the same video. All right, do we have any other stuff from this guy? So it seems to me that these are creepy enough that there should be like hundreds and hundreds of videos of this. All right, so this guy has one. But I don't see the wings. All right, I'm confused. Let me go to the wiki. Inland horned stick insect. Give me the wiki. There. Wait. Paronchestus is not Centrotus. I thought I found the wiki before, though. I mean, if Australia has them... I mean, that definitely looks like them. This is weird because I really can't find much on them now. Ugh. I guess they're not poisonous. This one's like blue. They're huge. Look at them things. You know, that'd be the last thing I would want to grab, but I guess if they promised me they didn't bite or sting. I have to be so careful now, is you can't touch anything because even things that didn't used to bite or sting will now bite or sting. Alright, so they're real. Only in Australia do you find this most bizarre insects, reptiles, and marsupials. Australia by Nick Volpe. So it's Australia. So hey, at least it doesn't bite, right? Look at this though. There's not even a wiki for it. That's the same video. I mean, they're not saying they're endangered. So what, did they just spawn? Or they're having trouble spawning into reality because they're too creepy? Junkie. I'm blaming everything in Australia on you. I don't know. See if you can find out where Paronchestus cornutus is from. Because I can't find much info on it. It seems to be legit, but I feel like the spawning is... They're still spawning into reality. Oh, General Sorrow is to blame for those. Hey, at least they don't bite or sting. You know, like I can deal with a lot of stuff if it doesn't bite or sting. Wait a couple of jumps and they will. I know! But then you never know because some even tiny stuff will suddenly get deadly. Oh yeah, I got 10 minutes left. 10 minutes. No, not you. Alright, so... This one we had on before, but I'm having it on again because there's a new part to it. These razor bills. So before they had this weird eye thing, like... That's not their eye, it's just like white design, but then they look all weird. But now they have like a white thing on the beak, and I think the white thing on the eye design is longer now. So I'm like, so it's kind of like, see, there's the actual eye. This is not the eye. It looks like it's like upgraded because we first had this white line and it just looked weird, but now the beak is weird. Like, look, the beak is here. But this is all fleshy, but yet the mouth opening is way back there. So it's like the bird has a half mouth, half beak is basically why this is weird. And I don't remember seeing it like this before. So usually like the bird's face ends and then there's a beak. But now the face is extending and then like turning into a beak. So that it's like got a mouth here is what it looks like to me. And then the beak now has this white line. And so these things are like getting weirder. And so you can kind of see, like, see the mouth. It's got like a mouth. It's not beak out here on the sides. So these, I don't know what these things are turning into. See, the beak doesn't start till out here. So it has a mouth. I guess not the weirdest thing we've seen today, but still. Desert penguins vanished. What? There's no desert penguins? There was desert. Are you sure? I'm positive there was desert penguins. I remember seeing them. Desert penguins. South America. That sounds right. There's no evidence of penguins inhabiting deserts. Wait a minute. There was for sure desert penguins. No. Oh, you're right. I don't see them now. That might be the first one I've seen disappear. Unless, like, the terrain changed and they morphed over. Yeah, because first, you know, there was only the ice penguins. Okay, this one lives in the Atacama Desert, though, so it still lives in the desert. The driest desert on Earth. Breeding range from South Chile to Isla Foca in northern Peru. So we're looking at Humboldt penguin as the desert penguin. They nest in the Atacama Desert, a dry and arid coastal region of South America. Alright, this is, I think, about right. I think it's these Humboldt ones. AI was lying. There is a desert penguin. I'll just say, that's the first time I've seen something totally disappear. I have seen them, like, morph, but... Oh, yeah, did they have tails? Humboldt penguins. Where's the butt on these things? That's longer than I remember, but it is shorter than some of them. Well, you want to see the tail, and you can't. Every last one of them has their tail hidden. Literally, first 100 photos does not show it. Only this one shows it. That's when I know stuff's shifty, because you look for the photo and you got to go through 100 photos to find one image. And then you see one far away image, and then you got to go through another 100 photos. Here, this one's not too bad. Yeah, that's... it does not look right. See there, there's like an extra part. Alright, I'm almost done. You know, I have just the last few days, I'm like, ooh, I saw the moon again. It's actually weird to, like, see the moon anymore. I don't know, I've kind of lost track of all of the orbit, but it just seems like I don't see it much. You can hardly see it during the day most of the time, and then you don't see it that much at night anymore. It's sneaking off. Yeah, what is that? Oh, I don't think I've seen that one before. African penguin. African penguin. This is a mutant head. African penguin. All right, we'll put you in. Endangered. In other words, it's brand new. Well, they look all... Why do they have that pink stuff on their head? Their feathers look like bumpy. They look like dreadlock feathers. Dreadlocks. African ones have to have dreads. African penguin. These photos are not... I feel like I need to see more. Look at it. It's got some tail. The feathers are weird. We have more images. They must be fresh because I'm not finding much info. Yeah, they're weird looking. Oh, good find. With that pink thing on their head. They look like they're like... They look snotty or something. Yep, those are... I have not seen those before. Pink fleshy. Somehow the feet are like more webby and big too. They look like they're really just got more like robust. They're like really, they really look like they'll claw you good or something. Okay, so they have this weird beak. Wait, what is this? That's a royal penguin? What's wrong with his beak? Royal penguin. Oh, now I'm going to have to look up penguins. That one's even weirder than the other one. All right, royal penguin. All right. Adele, African. That one's new. Gentoo, Chinstap. Macaroni, we've seen those. Magellanic. I don't think I've seen Northern Rockhopper before. It looks a lot like macaroni. I'm trying to go back to that one I just saw. Wait. Where's that goofy one with the extra beak? Was that macaroni? It looked like one had like another beak on top of the beak. Not you. So it's maybe one of the... Maybe it was this one. Erect crested penguin. This one... No, there's a bunch more now. Fiordland. It looks like there's like another beak. Like a beak and a beak and a beak. Stop it. Oh, this one. Royal penguin. Wait. Okay, so how many... They said there's how many species? They said there's... They showed all these. Oh, now those are just the well-known types of penguin. Oh. Then we get down here. And there's all these other ones. There's Fiordland penguin. Galapagos penguin. Little penguin. Is that a species? Royal penguin. Snares penguin. See, it's yellow-eyed penguin. It's getting impossible to keep up with them because they're just spawning more and more. Royal penguin. I want to see these beaks. It looked really weird. Oh, yeah, it's like a triple beak. Here we go. What is this? 1, 2, 3? What is even going on with that beak? What is the story? What is this? He's got an extra beak on top of his beak. Okay, so I guess it's just like a bump. The top one kind of goes like that, and then it goes up. At least for now. Maybe eventually they'll like have multiple mouths or something. Like it just, I can catch 2 fish at once. If I miss it with the first mouth, I'll get it with the second mouth. Crested penguins. All right. This one has its mouth open. that kind of gives us an idea here. Hoping I'll be able to see it. No, here. Okay, yeah, so, man, despite like all those bumps at the top, that top end actually seems to be the less large piece. Now, this is what we're seeing again here. Look, just like that other bird, like the beak just doesn't start on the face. It's half mouth, and then the beak is becoming like lips instead of a whole separate clappy thing. Now there's flesh all around, and then the beak is like lips. And then we're seeing that with it. That's why it looks weird, because this throat thing is all right. So beaks are turning into hard lips, at least on some of these birds. I think it was the Atacama deserts they would call penguin. I do remember them calling them desert penguins, though, I agree. But I'm pretty sure it was those Atacama ones, which Atacama is a desert. Okay. I remember them when they said it was desert penguins that they were Atacamas, but... Oh, you know what? I'm sure there's going to be another 500 kinds of penguins, because there used to just be 2 for me, and now there's like, what, 25? I mean, we're now losing the threads on being able to keep track of all those things. Okay, well, I gotta go. It is the time. You know the drill. Think good thoughts, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. I want to say, there it is, the end stream. This is Eva signing off for Once Upon a Timeline.